Can you just take a step back and give us kind of a blow-by-blow overview, you know, a short version of the coaching process, how it works?
You interview, generally. The person that's going to get the coach interviews 3 or 4 coaches, and they'll select someone.
Okay.
And then I'm really clear in that process. This is how I work. I don't get paid unless you improve, and that's clear. And that's unique.
Right.
And if I get the engagement, I'll say, okay, who are a dozen people I can interview?
Right.
That'll know, you know, and I'll ask them what's Marshall's strengths, what are areas Marshall could improve, what do you think the most important thing for Marshall to improve, and what suggestions would you give them? And I write it all up. I send it back to the person that I interviewed.
And you can't tell who said what?
No. And then I put it into a 360, and I sit down with the person I'm coaching, and from that they'll pick a couple of things.
Right.
Delegate, collaborate, listen, whatever it is. Then they have to talk to their boss, their immediate manager, and say, these are the 2 things I want to work on, and these are the people I want as stakeholders. We enroll the stakeholders. We tell them their responsibility in this.
I think it's also real important you get the boss to sign off on it the way you do, because that way you don't coach a person for a year and then the boss says they got better at the wrong thing. So that's a small but I think very important point too. So I like that.
Yeah, thank you. And that comes right from you. I mean, I think early on, if I go back almost 20 years, I don't think I did that then.
Right.
And then you get burnt a couple times and you learn. So that's part of the process of good coach learning. And that's what we teach people in the certification. Don't take a bad deal.
Right.
Don't take a bad deal. You know, the one time I did not get paid, I like to tell people it was ego.
Oh, yeah.
And they say, oh, the person had that ego. I said, no, my ego, mine.
Totally agree. I've not gotten paid more than once, and the problem is always my ego. I can't, by the way, we don't have to do this. So if we fail, whose fault is it?
Yeah, it's ours.
Yeah, we fail. Yeah,
take a
it's
bad
not the
deal.
client's fault.
Now, I love being able to say, you're going to have to do the heavy lifting.
Right.
And then we engage the stakeholders. We get suggestions from them, the whole feed-forward concept. And for me personally, the person I'm working with has to share that action plan with the stakeholders and say, hold me accountable to do these things. One of the things I ask the stakeholders to do is to let go of the past. Don't, you know, you can't be don't be a critic, a cynic, or a judge.
Right.
And be supportive of the process.
Let me stop you for a second. I think it's really important because we teach people to reach out to their stakeholders and talk to them. If I reach out to you and you're cynical and sarcastic and act like a jerk, I'm going to quit. You know what I'm saying? Wait a minute, why am I bothering with this jerk? On the other hand, if you're positive and supportive, I'm much more likely to continue. So I think it's a really important point.
And I ask the stakeholders, think about the benefit to you when and if this person becomes more effective at the things you've told them you'd like them to get more effective at.
It's to their advantage.
It's to their advantage. So let go of the past. Don't be a critic, cynic, or a judge. Be supportive of the process. And the last thing that we do that's so critical is the measurement piece, the mini survey. That literally it takes people 5 minutes or less to complete.
Explain to everybody how that works.
Well, a mini survey, you know, let's say the person I'm working with picks, I'm going to collaborate more effectively and I'm going to delegate more effectively. They're the 2 things they picked.
Sure.
In the mini survey, it'll say, you know, 4 months ago, Joe committed to collaborate more effectively. On a scale of -3 to +3, is he more effective?
Right.
You know, has he followed up with you? To what extent has he followed up with you?
Right.
Now, one of the other key components of the process is the follow-up, which we know is critical. We have the 8-company study, the 1,000-manager study. It's and this, I like to tell people that I'm coaching, this process takes courage, discipline, and humility.
Explain each one of those in a little bit of detail.
Courage. The courage to say, as good as I am, I've looked at the 360, I've heard what people said, and I could become more effective at collaborating.
And you're right, it's hard to look in the mirror. It's hard for me, it's hard for you, it's hard for all of us. That does take courage.
And these are very successful people.
It's hard.
Who, and so I tell them it takes courage. And I like to say to them, not everybody's up to it.
Right.
Do you think you can do this?
Right.
Now, the average executive isn't going to look you in the eye and say, I'm not up to this.
Right.
But you put them on record that, yes, they have. The discipline. You know, it's easy to say I'm going to collaborate better. Well, what do you have to do more of? Less of? What do you need to start doing that you're not doing? And what do you need to stop doing? Back to your unrecognizable habits, winning too much, adding too much value, and getting them to see those.
And the discipline of the day follow-up is hard. It's, you know, I'm busy, I'm tired, I'll do it next week. It's hard to have that discipline. And the third one is humility. What do you think about humility?
to say, as good as I am, I could get better at something.
Hard to do.
It's versus, let me tell you how good I am.
Me.
And,
Yeah, very hard.
So I like to emphasize those in the interview process, because when I'm interviewing for an engagement, and what we teach other coaches to do, is to let them know what they're getting into.
Yeah.
This is not clandestine, just you and I are working together, nobody's going to know about it.
Very transparent.
The courage is to go public.
Yeah.
I want to get better at these couple of things.
Right.
And it takes courage.